He was a rising star on the comedic stage until he ate that infamous edible and started a cult. Owen Benjamin's rise to the top was looking pretty promising. So it is high time to expose who is actually to blame for sabotaging Owen's career and forcing him into the controversial but very lucrative biz of cults and communes. This story is disturbing, infuriating, and distressing, but it's one you need to hear. So pull up a chair, pour the tea, and let's get into it. Flashback to the 1980s, the decade that boasted bold fashion choices with shoulder pads, fingerless gloves, and outrageous amounts of aerosol Aquanet. This groovy era gave us many important icons, but Owen Benjamin Smith was certainly not one of them. In May of 1980, Owen was officially evicted from his mother's womb. And like it or not, the world gained another Gemini. When he was young, Owen started playing classical piano, which ended up being an instrumental part of his career. He studied at SUNY Plattsburgh and started his career in entertainment. In 2006, he began acting on the telly, and a few years later started writing. He appeared in the comedy The House Bunny and the romantic comedy All's Fair in Love. In 2012, he played a protagonist's best friend in the sitcom Sullivan and Son. He also appeared in Gay Town and Jack and Jill. Owen's comedy skills helped him get to the finals of the competitive show Last Comic Standing, which would help boost his rise to fame. In 2008, he announced that he was dating and engaged to Christina Ricci, but their engagement only lasted 2 months. He started out making frequent appearances on other comedian channels, including What Say You with the Impractical Jokers and multiple episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience.
You are the worst representative of yourself on social media.
I'm a bad lawyer of myself.
It's a bad form of getting out tricky ideas.
A few years ago, Owen appeared on an episode of The Church of What's Happening Now, a podcast hosted by successful actor and comedian Joey Diaz. In usual Joey fashion, he offered Owen an edible before the show, which set off something more than crazy.
Tremendous. Yeah, those things are strong, Owen. Yeah, you just relax. Man. This is the devil here tonight.
According to many sources, this special brownie was the edible that changed Owen's life. A brownie that's responsible for expediting Owen's journey into a full-time career as a wackadoodle-doo. Owen referred to this edible as the Star of Death and claimed that it allowed him to see the devil's red rocket. That's what I call an edible derangement. Well, it's spooky season, and you want to know what's been keeping me up at night? The fact that so many Americans had their social security numbers breached last year. Doesn't that make you feel great? Don't even get me started about online scams and identity theft. I have found a solution, and that's the sponsor of today's video, Aura. Aura is basically a digital guardian angel for me that I just keep in my pocket, monitoring the dark web and making sure my passwords aren't compromised. I've kept them busy. Aura also protects against those super annoying scammy calls. Plus, they provide awesome things that I don't truly understand, like antivirus software and giving me a VPN that encrypts my online activity. But my favorite part about it all is that it is so simple, and I love simple. Now I can be social without compromising my social. So while I'm peacefully snoozing, do what you need to do and take control over your own digital safety by going over to aura.com/cultureshock to start your 14-day free trial today. Since his appearance on the show, Owen has accused Diaz of drugging him and ruining his life. And last year, well-known podcaster Joe Rogan briefly mentioned Owen, saying that since consuming that infamous edible, Owen hasn't been the same person again.
When we give Owen, what did he give Owen?
Oh, I think just one.
He ruined his life.
It would have been about 200 to 250.
Yeah,
I think I heard that podcast. You're saying like 250.
Opened the door and went out. Joey made a video, but the day it changed Owen's life. Like literally, the guy's head up. Like he went outside and he vanished. He's gone.
That comment rubbed Owen's fur all the wrong ways. But recently he took to social media to let us all know, even though we didn't ask, that he's happy in his current life, and said, if one brownie 6 years ago had something to do with that, thanks, Joey. As a dime a dozen stand-up comedian, Owen was, how do you say this, not very funny. After spending a few years trying to figure that shit out, he eventually decided to go the Adam Sandler and Vince Vaughn route, adding a more comedic edge to his routine. Except, instead of being edgy, Owen was just a deep-fried dick. He built a growing list of problematic views over the next few years, which made him one of the most controversial personalities in the comedic world. Owen released a stand-up comedy performance that utterly enraged people. His antagonistic content was inundated with a homophobic, racist, and an anti-Semitic rhetoric. Although he received a plethora of criticism, he never took a break from throwing tasteless slurs. Despite having the right to remain silent, he never quite seemed to find the ability. In 2017, Owen began to blatantly express his prejudiced views, calling himself the general in the culture wars. Calling himself General Custer would have been a more fitting name, because this attention-starved grifter wagered the future of his entire entertainment career in what would ultimately become his last stand. Desperate to stay even remotely relevant, Owen took to Twitter, sharing hot takes and harmful views regarding gender-affirming therapy for transgender teens. He publicly called NPR host Jesse Thorne a child abuser for allowing his child to choose their identity, and that statement was the first giant blow that would ultimately kill his mainstream success. His agency decided they couldn't really afford any more Owen B drama, and they were forced to cancel his tour dates and ultimately cancel him. Owen's the kind of guy that goes looking for trouble, and if he can't find it, well then he's sure as shit going to create it. In 2018, he found himself, once again, craving attention, and decided to take things to a new and all-time low. He targeted a man named David Hogg, who was a student present when 17 people were brutally killed at the Parkland High School. Hogg was now a gun regulation activist, a title which apparently triggered Owen, if you will. And without using a turn signal, Owen switched insult lanes, telling David, "College is gay, by the way. Enjoy gay college." Around this time, Owen had gained over 100,000 social media followers, which reinforced his belief that spilling slurs and insulting other worldviews, religions, or skin colors would only increase his popularity. During a live performance, he performed a song that liberally used the N-word. He then titled that song, "That N-word Stole My Bike."
I don't want to perpetuate any stereotypes, but that nigger stole my bike!
Damn, you really said that out loud, huh? He received well-deserved and intense criticism for that racist performance, and his career never could recover. And that's what's known as paying for the business you minded, you fucking foghorn. Owen also started to receive tremendous criticism from his online supporters. It turns out a lot of people thought he was a foghorn. He later posted several videos, Instagram pictures, and over 100 tweets in self-defense, which really just made him look like a toddler mid-tantrum. His posts were centered around his own lukewarm takes on censorship, liberal Hollywood, communism, and free speech. He also referred to his explicit performance as one of the most harmless jokes imaginable, which is exactly something a racist would say. On his unsuccessful quest to becoming a comic, Owen would become nothing more than a raging narcissist with an addiction to posting rage bait. And just like a textbook narcissist, Owen never felt a single shred of remorse, but instead turned to supremacy-laced conspiracy theories, while mocking and poking fun at different groups, from vegans to queer communities, and even white people who dared to talk about privilege regarding race and gender. He once said that any transgender or queer rights movement is actually just part of a eugenics program meant to reduce the world's population. Obviously untrue. He also claimed that dinosaurs never existed, and in fact, the Smithsonian is responsible for fabricating that entire story. Obviously untrue, although he's acting like a Cuntosaurus Rex. He again put those musical roots to terrible use, writing and performing very unfunny songs on the piano, like the 12 Triggers of Christmas and Soy Boy Anthem, which would mock men not fitting his personal take on traditional masculinity. He also doubled down on racism with the Racism song, which is exactly what it sounds like. But it's like they say, if you hang around the barbershop, you're gonna get a haircut. And Owen's unhinged behavior landed him right in the chop shop. He finally got a taste of what actual consequences are when he found himself banned from Twitter, Instagram, and even demonetized on YouTube. In 2019, Patreon suspended him for hate speech and violating their policies, and even PayPal cut ties with him. Do you guys know how much of a dumb fuck you have to be to piss off PayPal? His supporters attempted to sue Patreon for $3.5 million for banning Owen, but Patreon threw down that Uno reverse card and countersued some of his supporters. Hell hath no fury like currency scorned. When COVID-19 hit, Owen refused to take any precautions or the vaccine. Instead, he supported even more conspiracy theories, saying that vaccines are highly harmful. You know what else is harmful? COVID-19. Instead, Owen insisted his followers not take the entire pandemic seriously, telling them that fear is the virus. So much irony, again, because conspiracy theories rely entirely on perpetuating fear. In a tweet, he said, "I still use my hands. Only cowards who believe the news don't use their hands." That's so great, Owen, but perhaps now would be the time to use your brain, or you might end up catching these hands. He later said in a live stream, "If the government says close your business, that doesn't mean anything. That's just a pedophile in a suit at a news conference. I think it means close your fucking business." When fans criticized him for creating strange conspiracies, Owen drew a hard line in the sand between him, his supporters, and his critics. Despite his passion for free speech, he banned numerous people from his live streams simply because they disagreed with him, and he worked overtime to silence any opposing opinion. Owen Benjamin is a champion for free speech, as long as he's the only one speaking. He's just a sycophantic echo chamber who will only accept people who offer love, praise, and validation, or anything that strokes his colossal ego. Owen has been propagating anti-Semitic conspiracy theories for years. On livestream, he claimed that, quote, "Jews literally control your entire currency. They're the richest people in the entire world, and they are funding Black Lives Matter, fuck the police, defund the police, abortion, gay marriage, LGBT, everything that's pissing everyone off." In another video, he also claimed that it was less likely for a Catholic priest to harm a child than for a Jew to steal money. He made a Holocaust denial post on Instagram of the alleged homicidal gas chambers. He claimed, "The Holocaust was actually 9 gay dudes on roller skates." As if you needed further proof, this perfectly demonstrates how he failed so hard at comedy. Because spewing hate like this has never once been funny. In 2019, Owen openly embraced the conspiracy theory that Hitler didn't hate Jews. He's quoted as saying, really, what he was trying to do was clean Germany. Clean it of the parasites, of the fleas. He did not hate Jews, he hated filth, and he was trying to clean up. He later went on to claim that Muslims who come to America can't believe that the women aren't wearing potato sacks, so they rape them. They're just so excited that they start stabbing people because that's what they do. I hope he's ordering Miralax in bulk because I've never seen a human more full of shit. To no one's surprise, Owen also spews tremendous amounts of negativity towards Black people and Indians. He's made absurd claims about Israel being behind the events of 9/11, and recently, after the war began between Israel and Hamas, Owen was back on his shit again, expressing his fucked up views on livestream. But Owen wanted even more attention, so he started streaming on a platform called DLive. This platform is very popular with neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other extremist groups. He hooked up with fellow far-right nitwit Nick Fuentes, and together they were the highest earners in 2020 while promoting white supremacy and anti-Semitic ideology. Luckily, both men were reported by extremism researcher Megan Squire, and both were ultimately suspended from the platform. While Owen was very much canceled from mainstream comedy, he maintained a massive following on X and streaming viewership. So naturally, Owen decided that his loyalists needed an official name. Just like that, a cult leader was born. They settled on calling the group the Bears, or the Unbearables, while followers lovingly refer to him as Big Bear. That's a queer trope that's certainly not lost on me.
I'm 6'7", I'm not a tall man, I'm a fucking bear.
It's about right here when the cuddly sounding bears transform from a fairy tale club to a full-blown cult edging street gang. Still pretty salty about his radically racist songs flopping, Owen launched a brand new concoction of hate, violence, and cult speak, all in one word, Gamma. To the mentally sane, Gamma is simply the third letter of the Greek alphabet, but in this unbearable world, a gamma is someone who's more beta than beta. What's a beta, you ask? Not a fish, although bears typically like them. A beta is someone below an alpha. In the context of a bear, a gamma is a bitch boy's bitch. In adult terms, however, the bears use gamma simply from a place of hate. It's intended to emasculate, invalidate, and dismiss another human being, while the accuser assumes a weak-minded God complex. A gamma is a person that could disappear and no one would notice. A person whose life is so irrelevant and inadequate that they don't deserve to live. Calling someone a gamma is intended to strip them of their voice and humanity. Oh my God, you know who else would have loved the word gamma? Hitler. Speaking of Hitler, Owen moved to northern Idaho, not far from the former site of Aryan Nation headquarters, and the infamous Ruby Ridge Siege. He conveniently chose this crossburning location to purchase a commune of his own, promising followers a conservative, godly, homeschooling homestead in the woods in which to raise their children. But it is not as wholesome as he wants you to think. Several former bears have reached out, and they've told me some really concerning things. But one of the most nauseating things they have all told me about is Owen's personal take on little kids. More specifically, little girls. According to witnesses, Owen says that there's no difference between a 14-year-old girl and a 34-year-old woman. And he even says that children consent to sexual assault. I don't have enough fingers for this. Also, I would love for him to say that in the court of law. In an audio clip online, you can hear one of Owen's followers say some extremely disturbing things defending this entire bear mentality. Owen is right, though. It is more moral to marry a 12-year-old than it is to have sex out of wedlock. I don't see how anyone could argue that, really. Personally, in my experience, 30-year-old women aren't any more smart, more capable, more funny, more mature, more wise, or more anything you might look for in a partner than 21-year-old women are, or even than a 12-year-old girl is. But you know what? The 12-year-old is more fertile than both of them, and if your people are going extinct, more fertility is the way you prevent that from happening. Hello? CPS? But of course, we all know that cult leaders can't recruit new members by telling them this kind of fucked up shit up front. So Owen called this compound Beartaria instead. Beartaria? Call it the Bear Witch Project. That's 10 times funnier. A lot of faith-fueled folks jumped at the chance to purchase a piece of Beartaria, but there was one small catch. Before Owen could build this giant compound, followers would need to send him at bare minimum, a $400 donation. And during COVID, while hundreds of unsuspecting people were in lockdown, pumped completely full of his conspiracy fears, the thought of trading $400 for some peace of mind sounded like a real steal. Jackpot, honeypot, land scam secured. That sound you hear? That's not nature. That sound is the milking of the public. Local residents were less than thrilled by Owen's move to Bonner County, and they voiced very real concerns that the area might turn into another Aryan Nation. A group known as Stand Against Supremacy opposed Owen's activities and shared a press release accusing him of raising funds from his followers to buy the property. That did cause the original 40-acre sale to fall through. However, Benjamin secured $400,000 in donations and purchased a 10-acre piece of land through Black Rifle Real Estate, which markets itself as a haven for American patriots. Feel free to read between the lines on that one. In 2020, a concerning screenshot emerged on social media which announced, "You can now go to Owen's property. Here's the address for Beartaria Sanctuary. Comedian Owen Benjamin has secured land for his Ruby Ridge-style compound and has invited everyone who donated $400. Let's build the Dream Bear Village Owen promised." Neighbors of the property claimed that around 700 bears donated and planned to move to the property. They contended that Owen purchased 40 cords of wood, 2,000 bags of concrete, and plan to use water from the nearby river, indicating the start of a large-scale construction. A local disabled vet, Mike Wieland, warned the public that this development was dangerous and may be used for commercial operations offering weapons training, and called Owen out for creating an environment that could potentially harm a whole lot of people. Owen responded by allegedly sending several of his bears, over to Mike's house to film and harass him, and and accuse him of being a pedophile. In fact, Owen posted a screenshot of the disabled vet on his Instagram account with a caption that read, "We interviewed Mike Wieland, who wrote the article about me falsely claiming I'm a cult leader. Is it false though? I don't have a paramilitary militia, but I'm pretty sure, allegedly, he's a pedo." And to that, I would like to say to Owen, I don't have a White River rafting license, but I'm pretty sure, not allegedly, you're a grade A douche canoe. Owen criticized people who opposed his Beartaria proposal. He proudly stated, "I fantasized the shit I wanted to say to these fucking idiots. They're drunks, liberals from California, terrified of me because of their disgusting habits, their abortions, what they did in wars. A lot of them have trauma because of Ruby Ridge and the compounds they can't stop." That insane statement was the green light that all the rest of the Bears needed to launch an online war of their own, defending anything and everything that Owen says or does. They were validated by Owen even more in another video, during which members express that they will handle a certain situation. Owen responds by saying, "No, thank you though, but when I give the nod, kill everybody. Hello, FBI?" These types of violent-laced comments and expressions are encouraged by Owen. The group is well known to use threats and slurs against any former members or the media if they dare speak one ill word about Papa Bear. Would it surprise you to learn that the $400 investment opportunity for the compound never quite panned out? Instead, Owen pocketed the money and threatened to block anyone who requested a refund. Unbearable indeed. More recently, Owen expanded his land scam opportunity to the Show Me state. He's inviting you to show him the money through a $10,000 donation. This will earn you one rough cut bench on the property, because sometimes when Owen's not around, you just wake up wanting a good old-fashioned splinter in your ass, just to remind you of the guy. You'll also be subjected to an awkward hangout with the crazy-eyed cult leader himself, and you'll also receive 2 official tickets to Paradise. He could have called it Paradise. Come on! There does seem to be a little trouble in Paradise lately. The only payment company that processes donations sent to the crowd-funded compound severed their contract with Owen. According to some sources, this is Owen's primary source of income, which must be embarrassing for such a big bad bear like him.
I'm not a tall man, I'm a fucking bear.
Owens admitted that super chat donations have also decreased and that his property is losing money. You mean the property that your followers gave $400,000 in non-refundable donations to purchase? Former members claim that Owen encourages what he likes to call analog super chats, which is simply snail mailing him money so he doesn't have to claim it, but you can't write it off tax-free because last time I checked, he still doesn't have a 501(c)(3). Things got even more grisly this year when videographer Adam Comancho hit Owen with a pricey blow, forcing him to hire an attorney. Comancho filed a $35,000 lawsuit against Owen for breach of contract and unpaid fees related to a documentary Owen hired him to film. But Adam isn't just a videographer. He was once a loyal bear. Like many former members, he's unfortunately learned that when it comes to Owen, bare bones loyalty only goes one way. As of the filming of this episode, the lawsuit is still ongoing. But I like to imagine there's one song that plays in the background while Adam waits. Bitch better have my money and honey. There's a Native American proverb which says, "Inside every person, there are 2 bears, forever locked in combat for your soul. One bear is all things good, compassion, love, trust. The other is all things evil, fear, shame, and self-destruction." There's also a southern proverb, "Does a bear shit in the woods?" Yes, they do. Owen Benjamin's bear has made a living out of marinating in shit, but the more we flush him out, the faster he swirls the drain. Owen's story is just another example of how these fringe figures can leverage digital platforms and social media to cultivate die-hard followings, all while exposing their grandiose red flags. Check out the description to find some ways to support the takedown of Owen Benjamin's cult. I have an entire playlist dedicated to more deep dives like this, and you'll want to watch it next. Just drink your water, don't be a dick, and live, laugh, leave a cult.